I see. It shows up live right there. That's cool.
Beckett. We're on. Oh yeah, off to another smooth start as always. How is everybody doing? How are the weirdos?
Wet.
Wet, yeah.
Wet, yes. Today is
not in a good way.
Oh, wow.
On a weekend.
Vicky, okay. Today is a Saturday. This was the day we all could get together. Let me just get a little mic check on you, Becky. Make sure that voice got honey in it.
Mic check 1 2.
There you go, Vicky.
Hello, hello.
All right, and Denny's, how are you?
What's up?
Okay, so let's get into it. What do I hear?
Oh, I have the YouTube. I have the YouTube streaming live.
Beckett, you are officially killing us.
I just wanted the audience to be able to know that they can stream it live on YouTube.
Beckett talks over the intro, and then YouTube goes on in the background.
He's got his phone playing,
and I love it. Well, the top story, I don't know if you guys have seen it. Someone was blowing it up on our Weird and Whatever page, or at least on our Twitter. Octopuses. They are aliens. Did you see this, Vicky?
Yeah, I saw. I didn't read it, but I saw that they thought they came from like little pods or something.
Well, they're saying 33 scientists are going on record believing that millions and millions of years ago, a comet crashed into Earth, and then it was off of some kind of comet. The dust on there went into the ocean, and now we have octopus, and they are aliens. They're intelligent. They're weird. Thoughts?
I mean, it makes sense. What is it? H.P. Lovecraft. He has the Call of Cthulhu? That giant, I guess it's an alien squid. You wonder if maybe he always thought that, or that's been a theory for a long time that they've been trying to prove. Because a lot of sci-fi stuff does have squid-like creatures as aliens.
They absolutely do, and they said they're pretty intelligent creatures, and they're kind of an anomaly on how they're working inside of their bodies.
But that's my question. If they're scientists, how are they proving this theory?
They are writing it in a blog, so that well, just so you guys know, the 90% of scientists are like, you guys are absolutely crazy. There's no way octopus are aliens. It's a cool theory, though, isn't it?
Sure.
So I'm reading it right now. The research guy says the peer-reviewed article by 33 scientists argues that the octopus genome is too complex to have evolved naturally on Earth, and therefore the octopuses probably came from space.
From the icy comet, from millions and millions of years ago. Why is that such a improbable thing to happen, or improbable?
This is interesting because you actually, I think, brought this up on the other podcast. It says that it's because someone said that we're aliens. Didn't you say that on the last thing?
You could theorize that humans are aliens.
That we populated this at some point, like we were a bacteria or something that came from or whatever. So it says panspermia hypothesis, which suggests that life on Earth was quote unquote seeded by space dust or asteroids crashing into Earth.
Vicky, I don't know. It kind of makes sense to me. You were rolling your eyes.
Yeah,
no, she's the skeptic.
I'm rolling my eyes at this
It's Weird Saturday.
It is, because I feel like Beckett's more of a believer on this, and Vicky's rolling her eyes.
Well, I just think, because part of what he said is that they never found anything quite complex or whatever, so now you have. Why do you have to assume it comes from someplace else other than here?
Well, I think what they're saying is something with what they were researching on, nobody else, no human, no animal has what this octopus has inside of it. And that's one of the reasons why they're like, why does it do this? Why does it do that? There's nothing it baffles scientists.
Well, we can tie that in, like Bigfoot, when they have hair samples that they say don't match any other animal, that doesn't mean he came from outer space. It just means that they're unique.
Let me throw this at you. It doesn't mean he didn't come from outer space either.
True. But like I said, they need to give me a little more proof before I...
Maybe the way their DNA is wrapped, it's not the same as the typical configuration. Maybe that's what... I don't know, though. I don't know anything about squid DNA.
But they could have been a mutation.
Yeah,
They could have been some kind of mutation, and that's why they don't follow the same rules as other creatures.
True, it could be a mutation as well from toxic waste or something.
So I'm a big believer, if we do have alien life here on Earth, I think a good hiding spot would be the ocean. And there's a lot of people who believe that. It's a growing movement.
Well, if aliens don't breathe oxygen like we do on this planet, they have a different thing, then they could technically live underwater.
Well, if we don't know what they're made of, and they've got gills,
Yeah, I don't even, who knows?
Gills for ass cheeks. We have no idea what's going on out there.
Would you like that or hate that?
Breathing through my ass? Isn't that farting?
Well, I bet like if you went in the water, you could then continue breathing just through your rectum.
Yeah, if I could hold my breath, yeah, totally, I'm into it. Beckett, you're a man of the sea.
I think that would be a powerful
Be awesome.
thing to have. Is be Kevin Costner in Waterworld.
Oh yeah.
Vicky, would you like to breathe through your butt underwater?
No, thank you. I'm
I'd
good.
do it.
You do it too, Denny's?
Oh yeah.
You'd basically be a porpoise or a whale.
That's right.
So I had a little bit. You texted me, Vicky, when I was talking about me being paralyzed while I was sleeping. And man, anytime we talk about sleeping stuff, whether it's on this podcast or the KVJ show, people blow us up, man. There's people are struggling with their sleeping. Do you guys struggle with your sleep at all?
No, just not. I need a new mattress. That's about it.
But you can go under and sleep for a good 7 hours without really being interrupted.
yeah, if there's not an animal issue or a back issue, but as far as dream wise and things like that, I'm fine.
Denny's,
What about sleeping?
are you not? Did you not off?
No, I was reading reading my topic for a little.
Let's get it together, y'all.
Sorry, man. I'm kind of hungover from last night, man.
So
It's
again,
been a struggle this morning.
this is Saturday. We had our cocktails and karaoke event on Friday, and yeah, we're moving a little bit slow. I sound like Virginia over here.
I turned it up a little bit.
Denny's totally turned it up.
So, yeah, just recovering from that. But sleep paralysis.
No,
I
I
don't
just,
know what we're talking about.
Yeah, I know. I asked do you struggle with sleep at all? Or are you a man that can go under and sleep straight through?
Absolutely, I do not struggle. In fact, I'll fall asleep and I'll wake up the next morning. I don't even wake up in the night at all.
Yeah, you kind of do sleep like a bear. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, no I'll toss and turn. Maybe I'll turn over once. Maybe that's it.
Beckett.
Yeah, I have a tough time falling asleep, but then once I fall asleep, I'm out.
Yeah, so it was weird. I fell asleep on my couch because I was having some back issues. I didn't want to walk upstairs. So my dad's in the kitchen as I'm falling under. So I go under, and all of a sudden, this guy opens up the door, and it looks like he's got like an axe or a club. Something's in his hand, and I know he's there to kill somebody. And I'm trying to tell my dad, Dad, he's behind you. And I can't move at all. And I am literally seeing all of this from outside of myself. And a lot of people emailed and told us they suffer from that too. The doctors would call it sleep paralysis. Vicky, you had another theory.
My theory is because you said you could see what was going on, you couldn't move, and you were like viewing it from a different angle. I was thinking maybe it was an out-of-body experience, and when I have them, I see spirits. So that man that you saw coming in the door could have been a spirit rather than anything else.
That's horrifying. Why is that spirit? Why does he have a club in his hand? Why does he want to harm us?
He could be leftover from maybe that happened in that area at some time. Maybe you've attracted in all of your journeys with the Ouija board and things like that. Maybe you attracted something and
pipe
it's
down,
still,
Denny's.
it's still, hanging around. I mean, there's a lot of different theories. Unfortunately, again, like with the scientists and the octopus thing, we can't really prove any of these.
So it's either sleep paralysis or there's a murderous ghost living in my place. Okay, that's pretty
One
awesome.
or the other. I think you'd probably go with sleep paralysis on this one, but I was just trying to throw in, because I was listening that morning, so I was trying to throw in a possible other angle that it could have been because of the fact that you were viewing it and you could view yourself.
Gotcha. Quick question about all that. You said that it could be a possible thing or an entity hanging around where a possible crime might have happened or whatever.
Right.
If something happened, let's say 3 houses down, could that roam over to another house and start haunting that? Is that a typical thing, or do you not see that?
In theory, it could, especially if 3 doors down you have someone who has some ability, who wants to see these things, who is more receptive to these things, because maybe where it happened, the people there are completely closed off. And there's no way that that entity is ever going to be seen or heard, and they can just go 3 doors down, and there's Jason.
Interesting stuff, Beckett. You're awfully quiet, Mr. Researcher. Are you not paying attention either?
No, I'm paying attention. I'm just taking it all in.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, well, it's interesting, and please continue to send us your emails, even if we don't read them or if we don't respond. We are reading all of them. It's a good thing. It's a bad thing. We can't get to answering them back, but we're getting a lot of feedback from people, which is awesome, awesome, awesome.
One that we didn't get to on the last one that was a question was the Scientology. I don't know if you want to dive into that or another time.
Let's wait on that. Yeah, let's. We can talk about it
a
little bit later, but yeah, let's.
That way I'm off the hook for bringing it up.
Let's get our palates wet.
And I do want to say, you had given me an email a few weeks ago, and I met with those people on Thursday, and it was a great outcome, and I want to thank them. I don't know if they want to say, they want to hear their name on the radio, but I just want to say I appreciate the email you sent me last night. It was great confirmation for me, and I'm glad things are on the road to healing.
Just because it kind of sounds like it's riddled in code. What
cryptic?
Are you able to at least give us kind of what
there was someone that was struggling with someone's passing.
Okay.
And it was a younger person
that was struggling with it, or that
yes,
passed?
That struggling
Got you.
with it. And I met with them. It was just, like 40 minutes out of my life, but it seems to have made a difference for that young man.
Well, that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Awesome.
Yeah. Very cool.
I like that. I'd like to see you give a real in-depth reading to Denny's. I want to see what's going on behind those eyeballs.
Yeah, how would that go? What would I do? Just sit here and then let you...
Yeah, well, you'd have to have something in mind that you wanted to know about or something like that. Or if there's someone in particular you wanted me to get in touch with, just to have their picture.
Oh, very cool.
Denny's, are you too hungover for some Denny's random facts?
No, I got some great facts for you guys. I do apologize.
Just makes it more random.
As I get older, man,
Are they alcohol related?
Nah, they should be. Actually, I'm trying to stay away from anything alcohol today.
I told him what he needs is the hair of the dog.
Yeah, I totally should have walked in with a bloody.
One shot. I was gonna say one shot, and at least that works for me. But I got issues.
I'm weird because if I get one shot, then I got to keep going.
Yeah,
that's what it turns into, and then it turns into a Sunday that's just brutal.
You think Bloody Mary has some kind of paranormal origins for how the drink got its name?
It's a cool name. It might, the red tomato juice, blood. I get it. By the way, Bloody Mary does not work. Tried it a lot as a kid.
That's a good hangover remedy.
Yeah.
You don't think so?
No, I'm talking about Bloody Mary the game.
Oh.
I hate Bloody Mary the drink. I think it's the worst drink. Other than cream soda, I think it's the worst drink.
Have you had a Bloody Maria?
Bloody Maria? No, it sounds grosser.
Tequila.
Yeah, I was right. I was right. Gosh, tequila's rough for me too, man. I'm such a little baby when it comes to drinking.
Yeah.
Denny's has me on Jameson when I drink.
So I can only do the whiskey, but yeah, last night, sometimes you just drink too much of it.
What's your drink of choice, Vicky? It's good to get to know everybody here.
Yeah, we're talking spirits.
Well, I hate to say it now, Bloody Mary.
No!
Those are great hangover ones because it's got all your vitamins. They're fantastic.
Yeah,
That's
I
great.
fool myself into thinking it's healthy.
Yeah, well,
Because I got that celery in it,
It seems like everybody loves Bloody Mary but me. Everyone swears by it. They talk about those Bloody Mary bars. I'm like, ugh. Tomato juice? Are you shitting me? With celery?
That's why I say it's good for hangovers.
It's
I don't
tequila?
drink it.
That's a good Bloody
Tequila,
Maria.
I don't even know where Bloody Maria. I don't
Bloody
know.
Maria, Beckett?
Oh, it's so good. Tequila?
Oh,
Oh, God. That's
Vodka's
good.
like the tofu
Wincing.
of liquor. And
What
that's
is?
coming. Vodka.
I'm not over here blowing vodka. I'm just saying tequila and tomato juice might be the shittiest combination
Oh,
I've
it's so
ever
good.
heard.
I might go over to Twin Peaks after this and go have one.
You love Twin Peaks, man.
I do.
All
There's
right.
two of them.
yeah, you're right. 2 locations.
All right, Denny's, give us some facts, man.
So just to put into a grand scale, it's cool that you brought up the squids being alien. I mean, you could even look at whales, things in the ocean that you could wonder are alien as well, because whales are humongous. They're the size of buildings. Just to give you an example of how large a whale is, a blue whale's heart is the size of a Volkswagen Beetle, and the arteries that connect it, you could actually swim through as a person, without touching the edges of. That's how big their hearts are.
To me, that would be the freakiest thing. If you were lost out at sea at nighttime in that wide open ocean, and all of a sudden a whale eye comes up and like blinks at you, that would scare the shit out of me.
The eye would be bigger than this window.
Exactly, this big ass eyeball looking at you.
Well, so it's weird to think, if we think about bugs, how small and insignificant they are, and yet, we kill them all the time. But I mean, you should sort of feel bad for them because if you look at whales, how large they are compared to us, we are just a speck to them. Even elephants or any other animal that's larger than us, bears, we're so tiny compared to them.
Interesting perspective on that. Just because something's small and seems so minuscule, you know what I mean? Maybe
there's a lot to it.
There's a lot to it, man.
Well, also, if you look at a fly's like nervous system or the way that it functions, the inside of that is so tiny you have to use microscopes to break it down. But those are all functioning organs, just on an insanely small scale. And if you even break it down even further, inside there is bacteria. Where if you look through a microscope, they have different types of bacteria that are moving living things as well on a smaller scale. So is it hard to theorize that the universe that we are, we could technically be living in one single cell as bacteria, an entire culture, everything that we have?
Did you smoke before?
It helps with the hangover.
Did you
It does.
roll the biggest wonder joint?
But think about it. I'm just putting it out there for people to think about.
Brother, you're blowing our minds.
But
you really are.
I mean, they're complex systems and they're tiny. We're a complex system and we're large, but if you zoom out even further, we could be very tiny.
Becky, rebuttal to that?
Yeah, and you know, so what is it in what was the Will Smith movie?
Which one?
The
Pursuit
one
of Happiness?
no, the Alien movie.
Men in
Independence
Black.
Day.
Men in Black.
Men in Black. So Men in Black.
Yeah, you weren't.
Yeah, we both right.
Where the whole world was on a cat's necklace.
For sure.
Right? Like when you zoom out, like it's just like an atom.
So that's a caricatured version of what I'm
Right.
saying. Essentially,
Yeah.
we could be a bacteria, and then if an asteroid or something blows us up, that could technically be just somebody being like, yoink, get rid of these guys.
Sometimes I'll be lying in bed just thinking about all that stuff, thinking about how it all began. Vicky, you shake your head. Why is this?
I wish I had smoked before this podcast. Maybe I'd be able to follow a little better.
That's true. We can move back to something a little bit more followable.
That might be our target demographic.
No, I'm not saying everybody that listens to this podcast smokes weed, but a lot of them do.
Second fact I came across that's kind of cool, and also another thing to put into perspective just how much of us there are on this planet. 54 million people alive right now, this very second, will be dead in 12 months. That's how many people die in 12 months.
Sorry. I just like the way that's how many people will die. Very dramatic. I love it. All right, hit us with another mind-blowing fact.
I'm sure you guys fly in airplanes. I know bird is not your favorite thing, but if you do, you can try to get some cuisine while you're in there, if you can, depending on the flight you go on. But you ever wonder why food on an airplane just does not taste as good? Has anyone ever wondered this? Or?
No, because all I ever get is peanuts. So.
Are you doing a stand-up routine?
No, yeah.
What's the deal with plane food?
Is it hot up here?
Did you hear about the one?
Well, just to let you guys know that in an airplane, your sense of taste and smell is decreased 20 to 50%. We talked about before how closely linked those are, and that hence is why you have less taste in the air because of the altitude.
That's probably why I like Bloody Marys on a flight, because that's so much flavor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're a robust drink. Do you guys want one more here?
Vicky, we're gonna let Vicky decide. Vicky, would you like one more?
Sure.
All right.
Why not? Maybe I'll get the next one.
All right, here, just again, we were talking about full circle, as these all are. The total weight of all of the ants, small insignificant creatures, the weight of all of them on Earth is greater than the total weight of all humans on the planet. That's how many more ants there are.
Makes sense.
And do you know how much stronger ants are than we are?
I heard they're like 5 times stronger.
Yeah, they can lift like 50 times their own weight.
Which is pretty cool. And those are a weird creature because there's one female and then the rest are like androgynous drones that do work and they all cater to... That's a completely different system than we humans subscribe to.
Oh, yeah. And you could argue they got an alien look to them a bit.
Insects, I would argue, insects and octopus are probably the two most alien-looking creatures on this planet.
Well, good job, Danny. It's very nice.
Nice.
Hopefully you guys learned something today.
It's a good bit.
We learned something, my man. Yeah, so if there was an animal out there that you thought was from a different galaxy, planet, an alien, what would it be?
It'd be an octopus.
You think it'd be something in like marine life type?
Yeah, well, that article I was reading was saying that it's weirdly intelligent. And
Yes.
It's got a very developed nervous system, and its eyes are camera-like. So these are all like part of that fuel this hypothesis or theory are how like weirdly in some ways advanced and unique and different the octopus is
from like every other one down there.
And I think it's kind of baffling some scientists, right? Yeah.
Scientists that study this, like that's what they do. Like they're out on ships studying stuff.
And they said 34 scientists are like, yeah, it's an alien. In the grand scheme of scientists, I don't think that's a lot, is it?
No. But the fact that it's peer reviewed, like usually if you read something on like Business Insider or some journalists like throw something out there, like that's one thing, or if it's on Google News or something like that. But when it's peer reviewed, that means that other people, per the scientific process, are like poking holes in it and challenging it and, you know, writing dissenting opinions, which is good. So the fact that it's gotten there even is amazing.
I just never thought about it, but that is totally possible. There's such a weird creature, octopus.
Forgive me if I read this email. I don't think I did, but let's. They really want an answer on this. Do you guys think comparing yourself to others leads to depression and anxiety? You guys talk about depression a lot, which I think is great. I was curious to see if you guys think that this is a major leading factor to depression and anxiety. Love the podcast. Kimber from Lake Worth. What do you guys think?
I think it's the annoying answer in that it depends. And I think that, you know, you had that famous thing in the Olympics where that guy from Brazil was looking at Michael Phelps in the lane while they were swimming, where Michael Phelps was just so focused like before the race on like what he was doing. I think it's nice to have like a benchmark, but like when you play golf, for example, you're really playing against the golf course, not necessarily the other players. So where you place depends on how well you played on the golf course relative to the other players.
Absolutely.
But you really need to focus on hitting the better drive, the better chip, the better putt, and that's how you beat your competition. So if you really focus on bettering yourself, because too many people look outward and it's really inward. And but it's good to be aware of it.
Vicky?
Absolutely, comparing yourself to other people can lead to depression, but it can also inspire you. So again, it depends on your perspective and what you want to do with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's how anybody aspires to be something, by comparing themselves to. If you want to be a musician, you look at somebody, you compare yourself, you want to get better. But again, like you guys are saying, you can get obsessive and go the other way and always look at what you don't have.
Yeah.
Instead, I mean, I think a lot of people are guilty of that, myself included. I think a lot of times human beings always focus on what they don't have and not with what they do have. And there's a lot of great stuff that, you know, a lot of us have. And you gotta sometimes, you know, take evaluation of all that stuff and, you know, take note to that.
And when you're talking about depression, there's two kinds. There's the real, true clinical depression, and then there's what I call the pity party depression.
Yes.
So
and
that's
that's where it gets weird,
Yeah.
Vicky.
And that's more based on pity party than it would be true chemical depression.
Clinical, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's times where you act like a baby and woe is me and my life's not working out for me, and you got to look within.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With that said, though, it's very, to your point, it's very in to be a victim. It's very, very popular. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened to me. It's like, well, you know,
Yeah.
things happen to everybody, like you were saying.
Totally.
I think it's a great point. Danny, anything to add on to that?
Well, I think on that point, now it's people are being rewarded for the pity. So I think that's why you're seeing a growing amount of people expressing their pity.
Yes.
Because they'll put something up now and people catch traction. They'll get reaffirmed on their points. And I think that's alluring for people.
Because back in the day, you never talked about your troubles.
Never.
And if you had children, your children never knew adult problems.
For sure.
And now everybody knows your business.
Well,
Everybody knows your woes.
We did a segment called Facebook Fishing where we would read people's posts about, I mean, it's just the drama and the anger about the dumbest shit. And they're airing all of their stuff out on a public forum. As soon as you put it out on a public forum, people got the right to comment about it, whether you like it or not.
Totally.
Yeah,
But
no.
to me, that's a bit of the pity party. I can't believe this shit. Blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean?
People just want if they feel strongly about something, they want other people to feel strongly about it too. If you don't, then they have to argue with them. It's just, it's how it is now.
It's like people go to a comedy show that get offended. They'll laugh at the first 40 minutes of all this offensive shit. And then the comedian hits on the one thing that really, really gets to you. And now you're offended. And that's how it works.
Well, I can't believe now that they have people going to comedy clubs and then calling out the comedians during their act. It's like you paid money to go to this show, and now you're filming them and putting it on the internet, shaming them for something they said in their routine that you went to go see. That blows my mind.
Unbelievable. There's comedians that won't do college campuses now because it's gone so over the top politically correct, where you can't say diddly shit about, and you can't make fun of anything anymore. It's insane.
Yeah. And that's where that style of humor, I think a lot comes from that. Like that form of humor used to be what the satire was, because you couldn't blatantly, openly say like things that you wanted about about other people back in the day. Right. Now you can say whatever the heck you want, and maybe we got so oversaturated with that, and maybe that's why people are like, "Whoa, I guess everybody can say whatever the heck they want."
It's social media. We have 24/7 access all the time.
Crazy.
We're everybody is communicating every second of the day. I could say something, tweet it out, offend somebody just by sitting on my couch. I could offend thousands of people by hitting one button and sending a tweet. It's insane.
It is. You don't even have to go out of your way to do it either.
You could ruin your career from your couch.
From your couch.
Easy.
Not even thinking. You're having a drink. Oh, this would be some funny shit. Let me be sarcastic. Because when you write something down and you send it via internet, sarcasm, all that stuff is gone. People just read it and they react to it. You can say, there's some things we can say on the air that we will not post in print, because we know if you read it in print, it sounds like you're being such an asshole, and you can't get sarcasm. You can't get humor sometimes through that.
Yeah.
Didn't they say they should have some sort of quotations that are specific to sarcasm? But did they used to put it in italicized? Do they not do that anymore for sarcastic phrases?
I don't know.
Like, we should bring that back. That way there would be no problem, because you can't convey sarcasm in text. It's crazy.
You really can't. I tried it with my ex-girlfriend. It never went well.
Yeah,
ever.
you can't. You cannot do it. So
there should be some form of punctuation, like an exclamation mark or a question mark,
for sure,
where like it lets people know that it's sarcastic.
In sarcasm.
Or people should just lighten up. How
It's
about
a great
that one?
idea.
Yeah, how about that one?
I like that one.
Yeah, changing the text. Screw that, man.
Well, you can do it with a little emoji too, because sometimes when I say something sarcastic, I use the one where they're looking up like this.
Yeah, so
that the people who don't get it will get it.
Yeah,
the tongue out winky face is a good one when it's sarcastic.
Go on.
No, you go on.
It's crazy now how emojis have become part of our text. Like, you can change how a sentence is said just by throwing a character at the end of it.
I'm telling you, we are getting to the point where there's going to be an emoji that offends somebody. The tongue sticking out. Oh my gosh, he's very.
We're there.
Oh, I know. We are there.
The purple devil basically means you're horny.
Well,
Oh,
and we all know eggplant does not mean the food.
and we know peach.
Apple knew exactly what they were doing when they put the eggplant in there.
Well, people are sick. People have twisted minds. Speaking of things that I think that are crazy going on in the news, someone sent this email, and it's going to be a clip, Denny's. I thought this was weird, so I naturally wanted to get your guys' opinions on it. Did you guys see that one nanny named Deanne Carson, I guess her name is? She's saying parents must ask for consent when changing their diaper. Excuse my language, but how the fuck does a baby give consent? They don't even know what colors are yet. I wanted to see if you guys thought this was crazy. Love to hear everyone's opinion. Jim from Canada. Okay, here's the clip.
I'm going to change your nappy now. Is that okay? Of course, the baby's not going to respond. Yes, Mum, that's awesome. I'd love to have my nappy changed. But if you leave a space and wait for body language and wait to make eye contact, then you're letting that child know that their response matters.
Oh, God. Oh.
Jeff.
Next subject.
Okay. I think this is ridiculous. I think that if you're waiting for the consent of your I see what they're saying. You're trying to teach your kid consent through hey,
body language.
Yeah. I think it's ridiculous. What do you think, Beckett?
It's ridiculous. For 100% ridiculous. I mean, I guess if you're trying to teach your kid something, like, that's one thing, but like to actually wait to change diaper, like, for consent.
And what if the kid's covered in shit? It's crying.
Yeah.
And you're not going to change the diaper? I get what they're trying to say is making sure that the kid understands the whole consent thing.
Yeah.
Isn't there a different way we can do this?
Totally.
Isn't there a better way we can do this? With Vicky, what are your thoughts on this?
It's beyond ridiculous. And children have to know that there are times where, no, we don't need your consent to do something. There are times that we tell you to do something and you need to do it because we're an adult and we know what's best and we're trying to possibly keep you from harm or something like that. If you set the precedence that every single solitary thing that you do, you need permission to do, no, that's ridiculous.
What is happening out there? Seriously, shit like this makes me want to go out to the woods and just kind of pick berries and look at the sky, because I can't wrap my brain around it. And the thing that's scary, there were so many people in the comment section that agreed with her.
Oh my God.
That's horrifying.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be one of those old school parents. Under my roof, my rules.
Vicky, you just said it. Where is this movement coming where the kids are saying, no, I'm not going to do that? I mean, there's not even, barring the whole diaper thing.
But there is a movement of kids.
There's a movement that they need their opinion heard, and what the shit is happening here?
Well, there's a difference between having a child voice an opinion.
Totally. That's
and
not what I mean.
asking their permission for every single thing. No,
Yes.
I'm going to ask your permission to make you go in there and take a shower. You stink. You're going to go in there and take a shower because I told you to.
And that's what I mean.
Yeah.
You need to ask your kids for opinion. It's the whole, okay, time to take a shower. Well, I don't want to take a shower, like you're saying.
Right.
No, you're taking a shower. You smell like ass.
Well, you're a parent.
are.
You get that right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing.
Ridiculous.
Well, what it probably is generationally, like the last generation, if you look back, one generation was very hard on the one before, and then the next one's a little bit softer, and then we're going to get to a point where everybody's so soft that the next generation's like, they need to toughen up.
Yeah, there's a
and then
study
you'll
on
see
that.
it. You'll just see it go over and over, that
4
same
cycles
pattern.
is what they propose, called generational theory, and they propose that since the beginning of the United States, like, even before we declared our independence, like the late 1600s, that we've gone through 4 cycles of generations.
And that makes sense. I think we'll go back through, we'll repeat them again.
We tend to repeat stuff.
But what happens is you get a lashback, right? So you have the people that would be pretty liberal minded, like probably us, right? And then you hear crazy stuff like that, and you're like, the world's crazy, and like it ends up going the other direction. Like that's what happens with these populist movements, because they're like, whoa, like these people are getting out of hand.
Well,
like safe spaces in like Berkeley that used to be like the bastion for like free speech, like people can't come and speak if people disagree with you. It's crazy.
You're 110% right. There are so many orators out there that, I don't agree with their personal beliefs. It's not how I roll. But you don't shut them down because their ideas scare you. And I'm talking about ideas that's not hate speech. That's just outside of the box.
Just outside the normal ideas.
People need to stop knee-jerking, reacting, and thinking about how to respond things more sophisticated. So by refusing to have some racist guy give a talk at Berkeley, you're giving him way more like acknowledgement, like way more new stuff, to not make a stink about it at all. Everyone shows up, and as soon as he starts talking, get up and walk out. Do a walkout where he ends up talking in front of 6 people.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
So some people's theory would be there's going to be awful people that come to, if you're talking about the situation of a racist speaking, you're going to get racist people that come out there, and they're going to support that person. And that's what the weird thing is about the hate speech and all that, Vicky.
But they're going to support them regardless.
True.
You can't. I say, first of all, if you live in the United States and you believe on what we're supposed to be based on, let people speak. And I guarantee you, even the most horrendous speech and the most whatever, you're going to walk away with something, even if it's the knowledge, thank goodness I'm not like that person.
For sure. It is
so
good
you can
to know.
still take something from it.
Very good point.
You do end up in a weird gray area because, the law says that you can't incite violence.
Yes.
And you can't incite violence and then hate speech, right? Like, I had an interesting experience in London. They have an area called Speaker's Corner. And it's one of the former hunting grounds of the king. It's one of like the famous parks outside of London. And in that little area, if you stand on a soapbox, that's where it says, I'll get off my soapbox, because you couldn't be touching the king's ground. You could say anything about anyone, including the king or queen themselves. And what's crazy about Europe and England is you had people standing up on a ladder or whatever, saying whatever they wanted. And in the United States, in New York City, people would die if that happened. But in London, people were just standing there like yelling back at him, like having like a bit debate. It was just interesting how different cultures respond.
We
to
just
different
take things
things
too personally.
Yeah.
Yes.
Here in the United States, I mean, no matter what is said or done, we have to put ourselves into it,
Yeah.
whether we belong there or not.
I mean, you could argue just humans in general take. I mean, I know that it seems to be a big problem here in the United States of people taking everything so seriously, but humans in general, they tend to take things.
Yeah.
They do. We're emotional creatures, man.
We take ourselves real seriously.
Well, just in every aspect of life, everyone takes their career. I mean, not when I say everybody, I'm using
mean
a
the-
very
the
broad
majority.
But majority. Everything's your career. You gotta do this by age 50. You gotta have that. Gotta have this, and you gotta be married. If you're not married, you're weird.
That's Western thinking.
And if you don't have your house and that dog shitting everywhere, you're not on point with it's just it's crazy
Yeah.
that what you're force fed to believe
Yeah.
is the way or the way you should live, and it's not.
No, that's just our way of living.
Well, too, it goes back to your whole generation thing. I mean, back in the 50s, think about it. I mean, man, woman, you got to be married, you got to have the house, got to have the job. It was so important. I'm not saying that it's not now, but it was such a traditional way of
Absolutely.
of thinking back then.
Well, the problem was they tried to force everyone to live a certain way. You went to school, you did certain things. You had a job, you did certain things. You get married, you have kids, you have a house. Like, all of this stuff is the American dream, I guess you could say. And the reason they want you to do that is because it helps their machine work. It helps America keep turning and living. So what happens is everybody's doing this one thing, then you have a bunch of uncomfortable people. What about a person who is not heterosexual, and now they're forced into this lifestyle? That's where you start seeing the rebelling of people wanting to, well, we should have this now, we should have this. Well, the problem is over time, it's everybody wants what they want. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people on this planet. It's really hard to accommodate everybody. So we can only do our best by making like guidelines for everybody to follow to kind of like live their lives in. So, I mean, there's really never ever going to be a solution to the problem of not everybody's ever going to be happy or comfortable. It's just unfortunate.
Well, you know that just by phone screening the show.
Oh, shit. Well, what's funny is they'll open up a topic. It doesn't even matter what it is. It's like, what's better, cats or dogs? It could be as simple as that. You will get every answer you can imagine from everybody's their walk of life. Everything that you can think of answer-wise, you will get from them. I hate cats. I love cats. I like birds better. You'll get every example ever, and that's just in a 20-minute screening of phone calls.
And that's something that just as benign as, do you like cat? What's the
That's what I'm saying. When it get bigger,
when we get into any kind of topic that, because we don't
that
do,
has gray area, it
Yeah.
gets crazy.
because we don't do live phones for this podcast. So if we did, people would call in with some stuff
For sure.
Because I mean, they definitely say it in the emails. That's for sure.
Maybe we should do a live phone in one time. That would be the focus of the show.
We can. It's a little tough because we're not on the actual air. We're on the YouTube thing, so it's a little bit tougher.
delay.
A little bit of a delay. It makes it a little bit tougher. Then we have to bring another person in to do phones. Let's see here. We did okay. Glad you guys agree with the changing the diaper thing.
we talked about that for like.
Well, I think it just spawned the
Yeah.
whole thing. There's just some weird stuff going on out there. Here's a good one for you, Vicky. My mom had a set of tarot cards from the 70s. I used to mess around with them to do future readings for friends and myself. When I did my first confession, the priest was very upset about the use of these cards, even though it was innocent fun. One day I was using them in my parents' old house and the light started flickering on the fish tank and I heard a noise come through. Something was behind me, but then it wasn't there. I never touched the cards since. I found them recently in a box and I'm debating if I should throw them away or try to sell them. What are your views on these kinds of cards?
Well, there's a lot of people that would put tarot cards in with the same category as, say, like a Ouija board. I personally don't have a huge belief system, involving the tarot cards. I think that if your intention is good with anything, then the outcome will be okay. If you have negative intentions, if you're a negative person, if you have negative entities around you, then of course it's going to be used as a tool against you.
Yeah, and if you are listening to this podcast, I will buy those off of you.
What if you
I would
don't?
love to see them.
Yeah, me too.
Oh yeah, totally. Please email back. I would love to buy those off
I
of you.
love old school tarot cards.
What
They
if-
look so cool.
What if you don't have negative intentions, but you really want to do something for the sake of a podcast?
I think that's positive intentions, in my opinion. Well, because I think there is something said. I think the people who are against the Terr Cards and am I saying the right tarot?
Yeah.
Tarot. I think that the people that are like against it, I think they are good. We need that. But on the other side, I love the people that said, I don't believe in any of this shit. I listen to your podcast because I think it's entertaining, and thank you guys for making me laugh, but I don't believe in anything. You need to go do this and prove to a person like me that this shit is real. And I see their point on that. I totally see their point.
I mean, people can argue that the whole point of those is basically you shuffle them and it's, a chance of whatever is going to come up, and then they have like a set of things that they mean. I know people that will use a regular deck of cards, a plain old deck of cards, and do readings with that. I mean, it's just a tool, just like I use people's pictures. I mean, someone could say that's evil because I'm looking at someone's picture and reading them from the picture.
I dated a girl who was so big into those cards, and she did a reading with me. Her aunt was the one that did the reading, so she did the reading, and they put down a card, and there's this guy. He's got like 37 knives in his back, and they both go, "Oh my gosh!" I'm like, "Well, what the shit does that mean?" Like, "Oh no, nothing." They wouldn't tell me, and then I found out like a week later, the whole reading was about how I wasn't. We weren't going to work out, and she had worried about that for a week, and she was acting all bizarre, acting all weird. And we got into a fight about it, a fight about absolutely nothing. And it was all because of those damn cards. She brought negativity into it.
Right. And also, if you take something and you take it as the absolute gospel, that you're doing that was a self-fulfilling prophecy because she looked at those cards and she determined it wasn't going to work out, so she made sure it didn't work out.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm also careful when I give a reading and I come up with some information. I always say, take what I say with a grain of salt. I don't know everything. This is just my opinion. And I'm careful, especially if people are asking me about future things, very careful because I don't want it to be a self-fulfilling prophecy for them to say, okay, Vicky said such and such. A few years back, I got a reading and said that I will never find love in this lifetime. And, honestly, it's kind of been in the back of my head. Now, as of right this second, knock wood, I'm proving that wrong.
Yeah, Vicky, yeah! Fireworks!
But that's a dangerous thing to say to somebody because I did have it. And if I were a different personality type, I never would have even tried because I would have thought that's, and when they pulled those cards, they determined, okay, that's the truth. That's the gospel. We're done. And they did things to make sure they themselves caused those cards to come true.
I mean, it's almost like the placebo effect. You think,
psych yourself.
Yeah, I think there's a big thing with that. If you are constantly thinking about something and you think it's the absolute truth, you're gonna think everything along with that is riddled in truth.
Totally. Well, it's like Beckett was saying earlier, when you're playing golf, you're playing the field, you're playing the course, you're not playing the players. If you let the players get in your head, that's really the only time you can falter.
Yeah.
Is if you let other people get in your head, or if you get too much, you let your emotions drive you, I guess you could say.
Now, if it's baseball, real sport, you gotta have some skill. No, I'm just kidding. Golfers, don't email me.
But if you're emotional, you got your girlfriend just broke up with you, and you're up at the plate, the bases are loaded, and you have to hit a home run to win. I mean, all you're thinking about is how effed up your whole personal life is. You're like, now I got to crush this, otherwise my team is gonna hate me.
Oh, and she's probably in the stands watching you,
making out with some guy.
Oh, she's dating the catcher from the other school.
But if you let all that out of your head and that doesn't affect you, then you're just hitting another ball.
Yeah, staying mentally strong. I think you have to work at it. It's like working out your body. You have to really work on it, whether it's through meditation or visualizing through something or reading script or going to church, whatever it is to get you centered. It is so important because you are your thoughts. Nothing happens without a thought.
Yep. I think this is why my kids will go right into sports as soon as they're able. Like the education that you learn for business and life, and in my opinion, that you get with sports is unparalleled. Way more.
Anytime that there's a team, anything, I think whether it's joining a band or joining drama, anything where you're creatively or working together as a team, I completely agree. I think that does nothing but help you, especially at a young age.
Yeah, for sure. It gets you cemented into a schedule, working with other people. having your opinion heard, having your opinion not heard. There's a lot that you learn from working in groups.
Yeah, you learn a lot about yourself too, I think, as a person.
Well, you do. Well, you have to learn that it's not all about you. You have to. I mean, you hope you learn that. You know, and it really is important. I think a lot of times people don't realize, myself included, your thoughts are so important.
Oh, yeah.
If you got shitty thoughts, you're gonna have a shitty time. If you got negative thoughts, you're gonna have a negative time.
Absolutely.
Now, tying that into the letter, since she already has a negative connotation in her mind in regards to these cards, for her, it's probably the best thing for her not to use them if she wants to get rid of them or something like that, because it's already in the back of her mind something negative.
Is there a proper disposal of those? Like, since they have, like, is she supposed to, like, burn them?
Yeah, good
like,
question.
You know, does it become like Jumanji? You know, like
That's so funny. I have a board game question.
No, I wouldn't. Any time that if you, let's just say, for instance, there's been stories about people with Ouija boards who they brought forth things that they think were demonic or evil. The last thing you should do is to burn the Ouija board, because then it releases that evil out to attach to something else. So it's better to keep it contained within whatever it is in.
so you just bury it.
Like, I mean, I don't know. She could have had a regular paranormal experience in the house, and she associated it with the cards.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
Well, we're gonna bring out the cards, and
Yeah.
we're
We
gonna
can-
Jason's already bought them.
we're gonna conjure up some shit for those non-believers.
Should
out
you
there.
buy 'em?
I'm gonna totally buy them.
Okay.
I mean, unless they're she's
We
going.
should get some old ones. Not
Yeah.
like new.
Well, I think she said they are.
they're from the 70s,
Oh,
right?
she's gonna sell them to you?
What? I think she's saying didn't she say she's looking to sell them?
Yeah.
I love
Yeah,
it.
I will totally buy them
love
if she's cool with it, and she's not charging $3,000. I don't know what the going rate of 70 tarot cards.
It would be
are.
interesting if I took the EMF detector and see if they gave off any energy.
I don't hate it, Vicky. I like it. The Ghostbusters are up in this bitch. You brought up Jumanji.
Yeah.
Someone sent in a question with Jumanji in it. It said, if you were sucked into a board game like Jumanji, what game would you least want to be in?
That's a good question.
We can do least or best.
That's a cool question.
I don't know that I know all the games.
Beckett, what the
Life,
shit, man?
I know.
Mousetrap.
Sorry.
Kerplunk.
I would not want to
Candyland?
be stuck in the game of life, because that would be the same thing.
Yeah.
Or Monopoly.
I would love Monopoly, man. I want to be such a I love the slum area. I love
You'd be like
Baltic
a
Avenue.
slumlord.
I would be a slumlord. Give me that $200, bitch.
Just kick it in Chinatown.
See, I would think you would like Monopoly.
Yeah.
Buying that property and building hotels and stuff.
I think
I
I
think
always
we-
end up like in jail.
Nah, I think we all know where he's trying to land. Park Place.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Boardwalk.
Boardwalk at the fancy spots. You're a Baltic Ave guy.
I'm at Baltic
Boardwalk has the
Ave.
prettiest women.
Who does?
Boardwalk.
They're so high maintenance, man.
So much work.
Yeah,
Baltic
but
Avenue.
Like what
$400.
Bertie Sanders says. Look at how much more you get.
Man, Baltic Avenue, she's going to be loyal. She is going to have your back.
What you need is a girl that lives in Boardwalk that grew up in the slum. 'Cause then
Boardwalk's
she's
too-
more. Then she appreciates it.
No, Boardwalk, again, too high maintenance for me. I don't want someone to be that much better than me. It's too much pressure.
Yeah, I don't want to hide
Yeah,
that.
Pennsylvania Aves, I think the richest I would go probably.
Yeah, you're a pencil
the,
Ave man.
the green ones, yeah. I, would-
Vicky, do you
I
have-
never even tried to get Boardwalk.
Vicky,
not
do you
to
have?
give away
No,
my
I'm a
strategy.
boardwalk person. Sorry.
You're a Boardwalk. You're high maintenance.
I'm a snob at heart.
No.
I'm not high maintenance myself, but if I were going to live on the board, that's where I'm living.
Wow, you do not come off high maintenance at all. But Beckett, no.
That's what my buddies in college used to say. We were like, I'm a baller on a budget.
Any other
I'm trying to
games?
think what game I would like hate to be in. Like Mousetrap would be pretty rough.
It's not a board game, but you guys remember a game called Don't Break the Ice?
Oh yeah.
I loved that game as a kid. The little red man.
Yep.
And he looked like he was pooping.
Yes, he did. That was in the same series as the Mousetrap, and then there was one other one that was like that same. I haven't thought of those games in so long.
Refresh me on Mousetrap again.
So you go around the board. Yeah, there's you don't want to get the Mousetrap because then it goes around and it catches you and you lose.
What's
But-
that game? I would hate to be stuck in that one where you pushed it down or something and you had a timer and you had to put all the shapes in before it popped
before
up.
It explodes.
Scattergory? No.
I hated that. No, it was like little shapes.
Yes,
I
do
hated that because when it
remember
popped
that.
up, it would scare
Give
the
you
crap out of
anxiety.
you.
Yeah.
I'd
well,
hate to be stuck there all the
I'd
time.
hate to be stuck in Operation.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Good call, Denny's.
What was that one that was really famous with the rainbow chick?
Are you thinking Candyland?
Candyland.
That was a fun one. That one I'd probably want to be in because you've just been in a world of candy, and I don't think anyone would judge you for eating it.
Shoots and ladders. You just go up and down all day.
Yeah.
It's so weird how Monopoly, it's such a divided game. There are people who love Monopoly. I am one of those people, and I love playing Street Rules. Street Rules going into it is anything goes. If someone's the banker, they better watch that bank or some money's going to be missing.
I'm surprised they haven't made that in a reality TV show. Wouldn't that be great to have that as like a game show?
Well, I think they're doing a street version of Monopoly where you are.
They encourage you to cheat.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Grand Theft Auto of Monopoly.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh, I got my game now. I just figured it out. I would be in Clue. Because then I could be a detective all the time.
Oh,
That's a good one.
Yeah, there's something. The TV makes being a detective look so cool.
It's gotta be so boring for the most part, but then in movies, it's so like fantasized as being awesome.
But when all those things that you do come together and you solve it, I mean, that's
I used to love Sherlock Holmes, man. I thought it was so cool, the art of deduction, just figuring out things by just looking at the atypical or something that isn't done the same way it normally would be, something that catches your eye. I think it's such a great skill.
Yeah, Clue's a fun game.
Yeah.
Clue's one of my favorites.
Sherlock Holmes had some of the best fight scenes with what's his name?
Downey
and the guy that used to be married to Madonna.
I never saw that movie.
Something Guy Ritchie.
Oh, Guy Ritchie.
You haven't seen those?
He directs them.
He does these it's not Matrixy, but he does things where Robert Downey Jr.'s character, like before they get in a fight, he intellectually thinks about how the fight will go. So he like an athlete would pre-think about how that 3-pointer looks. He's like, oh, he's got a damaged shoulder and blah blah blah, and he rethinks it, and then they slow-mo. And they
hitting each weakness.
He gets narration in the fight, and you're like, oh, it's so badass.
They made it very action-y.
Ah, so good.
Much different from Wrath Mode.
You guys ready to get deep?
Yeah.
Here's another email from Jenna. Love the podcast, guys. Quick question. What do you think is the #1 thing humanity has to be cautious of? What's our biggest challenge as people? You can only list one thing. Again, really love your podcast. It needs to get bigger. How can we as an audience help it get big? 2 good questions, Jenna. Let's see. Vicky, you want to take that one?
We're going to destroy ourselves.
Yeah, that's kind of my answer.
We're our own worst enemies.
I would say ego, in my opinion, is our greatest challenge. Because if you got the big ass ego, you're never going to be able to see someone else's point of view. And like Dennis was saying, there's a lot of people with a lot of points of view.
It's pretty hard to imagine that. So you know how everybody says there's that soulmate out there. There's that person that you just link up with. For that person to exist, if you think about it, is crazy because from your life, from the point you started to now, so much stuff has happened to you. You have opinions on things based on what's happened to you in your life. You have taste in food, taste in music, taste. There's so many things that could be different. And to find a person that has somebody that's similar to you, they must have grown up relatively similar to you or had similar experiences, and maybe that's the connection that you have. But like to think that it would be easy or that you could in 10 years find somebody is pretty tough to imagine. You would have to go out and look for it. You would have to seek it, I think.
Well, I think when it comes to soulmate, I think that is a type of person all over the planet. I think you can have more than one soulmate.
For sure.
And I think a soulmate isn't always a lover. I mean, to me, you're my soul brother.
Sure.
We are brothers. We are so much alike.
Akin.
Yes, absolutely. We're not related, but I mean, I feel basically like we are.
But you only find a handful of people that you truly connect with. I mean, whether it's physical or a person that's a friend or just even somebody that you work with that you get along with.
Well, yeah, but think about how small everyone's bubble is, and think about how big the world is, and that's my point about you could have many soulmates.
Absolutely.
Because let's say you grew up in the town of Jupiter, and you've never been further north than Orlando and further south than Miami. That's all your life. You haven't met anybody
How
else.
are you expecting to find that person, you know?
Well,
it's
I mean,
such a small cube.
That's why I think it's just a type of person you just get down with. Like, how do I know if I didn't go to China, I would meet the girl of my dreams? You know what I mean? Or if I went to Botswana, I'd meet the girl of my dreams.
Absolutely.
I think the potential is all over the place for multiple.
And I probably use the term soulmates just as a person that you would have similar interests in.
Yes,
is
totally.
what I would say, because then you would want to hang out with them. But I'm saying that happens so infrequently. About all the people in your life, there's only a few people that probably have that you feel like you can connect truly with. And that is just an example of how many different opinions there are out there. And like you guys say, of humankind taking out humankind, or people kind rather. It is a very big thing that we would take out our own selves just by disagreeing with our own selves in weird things, like things that don't even matter. We disagree about, and it ruins.
I mean,
everything.
on your deathbed, some of the stuff we argue as humans, is it gonna really matter?
Is it gonna matter
No.
at the end of the day?
No, and I mean that in a positive, not a depressing way. My thinking is maybe we should rethink the shit we get mad about.
Yeah.
We should do a overhaul, because a lot of, I mean, all right, so I like, traditions are nice. We have like, holidays that we all follow. Those are all, I think they're good for humans to have things to look forward to, benchmarks to plan for. But you wonder, man, traditions should be cycled out every like 10 years. Unfortunately, things change so much, and especially with technology now, it's a lot of traditions no longer transpose to our modern day as well as they did back in the day.
What do you rebuttal on that?
Yeah, but if you try to, because I know there's been examples where I'm like, okay, I'm going to do something different for Thanksgiving, everybody loses their mind.
Oh, exactly.
Because
but that's a deep
you
cemented tradition.
Yeah, you try to get away from that and try to create new traditions and things and people just lose their mind.
Well, people don't like change either. We see it on the KVJ show. If you change one little thing, all of a sudden, why is this not playing at 8:15, or why? It could be anything.
Well, it's weird to me that humans don't like change, because our entire life is change. We constantly change. It's nonstop. So why do we hate it so much?
Maybe because we do it all the time, like laundry.
Yeah, I guess maybe we just hate it.
I think sometimes it's nice to have some lighthouses in life, like that are kind of like something that's consistent, like a consistent safe inlet, and something that it's because there is a ton, especially now, like the velocity of change is so quick.
Well, people, I think humans just like to be comfortable, and when you're comfortable, nothing's really changing. And so if you have a job you love, and then all of a sudden you're comfortable in your job, you're comfortable in your career, things are going great. Now, all of a sudden, you got a new boss, and you're uncomfortable because your new boss is changing the rules and changing how you did your career, whatever field you're in. You're uncomfortable now. People don't like change. They want to stay comfortable.
So I'm weird because I like being uncomfortable. If I'm uncomfortable, obviously to a certain extent, but like if I'm uncomfortable, it's doing something that I want to be doing.
You're challenged.
I'm challenged, and something that's, whether it's mentally or physically or a new experience, like that's like I actually look for those kind of things.
But there is something in your life that could change, and that you're so used to doing, and you don't like the rules, and you're like, what is this? I think everyone's got that where something can.
Yeah, like say
blink of an eye.
Say you're working with the horses, and they're like, "We're done with horses. We're now got cows. You now have to run cows." That's like just a little change, but you're like, "No, I don't know anything about these things.
Yeah,
I have to completely
And there's a new cow boss. He's like, "Hey, what's up, Beckett? Shit, son, I don't like your hair long. We're gonna change that.
I'm out."
Okay, see? You see?
Look at that.
We like our guys to grow mustaches here at the cow farm.
I can do a mustache for a little bit.
For a little bit, yeah. And then you're gonna look in the mirror and go, "What am I doing?"
All it takes is one creepy photo to change that mustache.
To me, there is a 90-10 rule with mustaches. 90% of people who have them look horrible with them, and then 10% look amazing. My dad would fall in the 10%.
Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott, he's a mustache
Tom
guy.
Selleck.
Tom
Oh,
Selleck,
great mustache.
looks weird without a mustache.
Trebek looks weird without a mustache.
Yes, 10% of the world rock the shit out of a mustache. 90%, you look like a sex offender.
Just horrible.
Is it interesting that Hitler ruined a certain shape of a mustache
Well,
for everyone?
When you think about it, Charlie Chaplin had the same pretty much kind of a
that's
thing.
right.
He did. It was a
And-
popular style back then.
It actually kind of have a nice style because then you don't have to. It's easier when you shave. Like girls
Yeah.
won't appreciate that, but if you don't have to shave under your nose,
Oh, dude, that thing's gone though. Nobody's rocking that thing anymore.
no, never. It's
Hey, you're
ruined.
right, but it's completely ruined. That one fashion.
Yep, totally.
So, someone wrote in. They say, "Thanks to your Weird Whatever podcast, my 13-year-old and I would love to play Would You Rather. According to my son, I come up with the best, so with his help, we have come up with what we think are the best for all of you guys on the podcast.
Love it.
Awesome.
Can you handle it?" That's what they're saying. All right, for Denny. Oh, this is Ruthie and Dylan from A Couple of Weirdos. I love it.
That's great.
it.
I love it. You weirdos. Keep emailing. Denny's, would you rather have to lay in a coffin of the most horrific spiders for 1 hour, or would you rather have Jason believe he has been abducted by a serial killer and is going to be killed for an hour before telling him it's a joke. He truly believes he's going to die and is so terrified.
Ugh.
I mean, that would be so messed up if I thought I was going to die.
You thought it was like that. You thought it was Saw.
Oh, he's playing Jason. I'm going to eat your foot
And then
next.
the lights turn on. They're like, it was just a joke.
Oh my gosh, I would hate you. That's so not a fun
Ashton
joke.
Kutcher jumps in and points at you.
Yeah, punk. Yeah, we got you, man. You thought you were going to die.
Man, in that case, I'd have to bite the bullet. I would have to lay so uncomfortably with spiders.
Yeah, he really hates spiders. I mean, it's not an act. It is not.
Arachnophobia is real, man. It's a weird one too, because no other real insects bother me. I mean, even grasshoppers are gross. I'm not happy about them, but like, I'm not terrified of them.
Are you a screamer? Would you yell?
He can't. He doesn't have any.
I cower more than anything.
But there's been a couple times where, and you don't give really great reactions when
No.
you get scared, but there's been a couple times you've been a little bitch. When you thought a spider landed on you, like, ah!
Well, we were shooting a video at one of the college campuses way back in the day, and they had like this horrible spider problem, and we were filming there. I didn't see it until we were walking out, and I looked up, and it was just webs of spiders above us.
Was that Broward?
That was in Broward.
Yeah,
that was Nova.
They had some Broward Community College.
Community College,
They had
that's
some big ass spiders there.
Humongous, and kids are just walking the campuses, and once I saw them, I couldn't focus on my work from that point forth. I was cowering.
Yeah, he could. There was a spider in his patio, and he could not walk. I had to knock it off with the broom and let it scamper away, and that's when he could walk.
Well, so when I was a child, probably like 4 or so, 5 maybe, I would wake up in the night occasionally, and there'd be a spider on the wall, and I'd have to call my parents to come kill it. But I would wake up to spiders, and I think that started it. But then when I was in high school, we were on a boat, and we were going through a canal, and we went over this old abandoned bridge, and we went underneath it to smoke some weed, and I came out, and I had 40 spiders like on my back of my shirt and stuff, because I didn't realize when we were sitting under there, they were just climbing on us.
Oh my god!
I got in the boat, and we're in the boat, and they're like, yo, look at your back. And I was like, look at your back. We are covered in spiders. We had to jump into the water to get them off of us.
Oh my god!
And from that point forth, I have just never recovered from that.
Are you sure those were real spiders?
Yeah.
Or was that tainted?
It was some good weed.
Smoking some good shit. Yeah, my
That's a
mom.
legit question, though.
My mom had a horrifying spider story. She was at this grocery store back when she was a kid, and she was eating these cherries, and she's eating them and eating them and eating them, and all of a sudden she looks down, and there are spiders covering all of the cherries, and then they were crawling up on her arm because she was wearing a coat and didn't realize it. She said she had about 5 spiders crawling up on her arm. Yeah,
That'll do
horrifying.
it.
Yeah.
That'll do it, man.
All right, for Vicky, would you rather have to judge a 3-hour-long dog fighting competition? Ooh,
Oh,
they know
jeez.
they're hitting you good.
Ugh.
Or would you rather only get to experience evil or dark spirits and constantly be able to see them, even when you don't want to, for the rest of your life? Kind of like a Sixth Sense thing, but they are Vicky.
Are you adding? Because is that really in the email? Or are you just adding?
I'm adding a little bit, but to make it tough.
Oh, I'd have to go with the demons. I could not sit there for 3 hours watching dogs fight. There's no way.
You go with the demons.
I would be so scarred. I'd rather deal with the demons.
It was to the point where
Because I could turn that being able to see them into helping somebody.
So it's to the point where every time you wake up, there's this demon face hovered over your bed, and
He's adding it.
and it's constantly making threats about your family.
That's fine. That's fine. I'll take the demon.
Giving you slights about your job. You're not a hard worker. Saying things.
Jason, I'll take demons for 1,000. Thank you.
She can't watch
And
the
furthermore, it breathes fire. No, I'm just kidding. All right, and it's time for. Is it myself?
Jeez.
Do we not have a Beckett? Oh man, I don't think we have a Beckett one.
No way.
I figured it was gonna be something about my hair or something.
I didn't copy and paste it. I apologize,
Off the
Beckett.
hook.
Yeah, while you do yours, Bird, I'll look for the email.
Okay. Okay. Jason, would you rather have Kevin and Virginia be abducted and probed by aliens for 3 months, only to be returned to Earth, and have them live with that trauma forever? Oh man, I haven't even seen the second one. I already like that one. Or would you rather accuse Denny's of a crime he didn't commit, which ultimately ruins his life, doesn't marry Jen, lose his job, possibly serves to... Oh, I mean, Kevin and Virginia are getting totally probed in the butthole. Totally probed. Yeah, it's an easy one. It's all right. Don't worry about it. We got to wrap up anyway. So today's Saturday. It's officially 11:21 a.m. Denny's has a bowling appearance he's doing up in Jupiter. They got a new, what's the name of it?
Bolero. It's a new bowling alley they opened up there. I think they got free lanes and arcade games.
Is it like
today.
a Lucky Strike or like that place at Frank Theater in Del Rey, like where it's like fancy bowling?
It is. It's like that cool style bowling. So it's been remodeled from the ground up. So it's very like modern.
Oh yeah, that was the old stomping ground back in the day for me in high school.
Definitely. I've been to that bowling alley way back in the day.
Oh, that's what you did. That's just what you did. I wanted so many.
Do kids still go to bowling alleys? To like bowling alleys and those roller skating rinks?
Yeah,
That's
I did the skating rinks back in the day,
So
not
you're,
bowling.
you're into that world of young kids. That sounds creepy.
That question was to Vicky.
that was
Only to her.
Only to Vicky. Are kids? Do kids like bowling and all that shit?
I very seldom hear any kids discussing. I will hear kids. Kids will come to me at my morning duty, and they will sit and stand there for 10 minutes and talk about Minecraft, and I just nod and smile. Oh yeah, really?
Man, 10 years of Minecraft.
They're just so into their
Video games.
Just so into that.
I think that's what they're raising kids for. Everything now is arts and computers. I mean, I think that's what they're trying, because I think in the future everybody's just going to be working on computers.
Well, remember when you're 10 years old playing video games? Who would have ever thought that eventually people would become professional video game players and make millions of dollars? There's celebrity video gamers.
I'm just glad they're in style now, because back when I played them, like they weren't cool at all.
Oh, Virginia gets people so fired up because she has the 1989
The old
mentality
school.
about video games where you're a loser and you don't do anything and
Revenge
you're
of the
not
nerds.
Yeah, and it's so because people are like, motherfucker, I'm a doctor and I play Minecraft.
Yeah.
Right. People take them seriously, man. Yeah, so if anyone's listening to the chat right now, you want to meet us at Jupiter, we're going to be there at noon.
30 minutes from now, yeah, we'll be there noon. It's right there off of Maplewood, I think, in Jupiter, Maplewood and Indiantown Road.
And to answer the one question, someone said, how can we help as an audience, get more people listening to the podcast? Just keep sharing our stuff. If you see us post anything, we greatly appreciate you guys sharing it to people and telling people about our podcast, because that really is the best way to get more listeners.
And hit us with ideas, whether it's topics or
The
places to go.
emails.
Yeah, emails.
Those are awesome.
Yeah,
because it's been a year.
It has, and
yeah.
our numbers have doubled, which are great. A lot of things to celebrate.
Awesome.
But yeah, let's take this bitch to another level. So yeah, please share, and thank you guys for listening. Truly, we love you all, and Bigfoot is real.
What's that?